I'm a healer now. This is what I do. I conduct programs and workshops and retreats to help women embody their femininity. And I also teach mantra yoga, which is using your voice and consciousness and the power of sounds. And to be here, I had to go through my own journey of very different backgrounds. I was a journalist before, then I was in corporate world in advertising in with one of the best advertising agencies of the world. I left as a vice president of the company, and I got initiated into these practices very early on in my childhood. I would say, like, I was brought up in a household like this, so which was very easy for me to take liking to the spiritual practices. So I began with Ramakrishna Ashrama. Then I went on to Ananda Ashrama, which is by Yogananda Paramahamsaji. But all of this was more like a guidance, spiritual practices which were with guidance. Then I was on my own with my own practices for a very long time. Then I also was helping and serving an energy master for 7 years, which is when I delved a little bit into the world of social activism as well. And after that, there was a huge revolution in my own personal life, which is what I would call the turning point for me to accept myself and my role as a healer. And from then on, I have been on this path to share and um, help people on their journey of consciousness. And there is nothing better than what I'm doing, I would think for myself.
Many people carry emotional baggages in their relationships. What is the effective way to heal from the heartbreak?
Mm. Well, I think in today's time, it is almost impossible for people not to have had certain types of relationships. Generally speaking, relationships are not battlegrounds. They are like learning camps for you to introduce you to yourself. So, especially in today's world where meeting people, having an opportunity to discover your compatibility, your likelihood of being together for a very long time is really high, you tend to invest emotionally. And when the parting happens, which is inevitable if things are not working out, you do tend to accumulate that bitterness. And we are not taught, we don't have these tools at our disposal to turn them into something like an experience for our soul. Okay. Uh, f- with a lack of some opportunity like this, what happens is we become damaged pieces. We try to fit ourselves into the patterns that we recognized earlier with the other partner, and we try to either project it onto the new person or to project our own fears because there are two parties in the relationship. So, one way I would definitely urge people to take into account when some relationship fails and to cope with that is not only the path of therapy, but also a spiritual practice. Whether you call it spiritual practice or a mindfulness practice, it depends upon your idea of what really resonates the best with you. But to be in touch with your heart. And when you're in touch with your heart, your consciousness starts unraveling the parts of you, and you become like the source of information about yourself. So then that's when I think you really become successful in having a good relationship with yourself, which then transfers on to the other person.
How does a relationship with ourselves impact the way we attract and maintain romantic relationships?
Oh, we just ended on that note. So, a relationship with myself, for example, would mean that irrespective of any other person in the equation, I'm able to manage my self worth, the idea of who I am, the reaction of my emotions are also governed by me. When I'm able to take care of my own personal ecosystem, I'm in a better position to be able to negotiate that emotional space with the partner. So, the lack of this emotional space for myself, who I am, what I am, and what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses. If I don't have the stability in this ground, anybody can come and shake me from as an external force. And as we know, the world is not actually made of only one set of people. Not everybody is good for you. It doesn't talk much about the other person, but maybe their influence in your life is not that positive. So you cannot have yourself lost always in the dynamic of another person. So it is extremely important for us to have an idea of who we are, what we are, and what are the strengths and weaknesses, shortcomings, the beauty, so that I'm able to only overflow who I am.
A lot of people struggle with self doubt when it comes to dating. How can someone cultivate confidence and self worth in a dating life?
Okay. So I have a lot of things to say about today's dating world. Well, now dating has become like a space for impressing, right? Impressing upon the other person as I am the best person for you. Lock me in. Mm. So, whatever happens, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, when we are in the role of impressing upon the other person, we are projecting an idea, not only to ourselves, but also to the other person. And that is either referred to as a mask or something which is like not real. And when people move further into this role, basis what they see, they're bound to get disappointed. Yeah. So the first and foremost I would urge is to be yourself, to be completely yourself, nothing to hide. When you have nothing to hide and nobody to impress upon, whatever happens organically, it's like a dance. Yeah. And in a dance, you have to first enjoy yourself, and then the other person also gets the juice of that enjoyment. And if it is something that is comfortable, that it is feeding energy to each other, then you know that it is meant to last. If it is not, then you can just step out and say, okay, maybe another dance would make sense with somebody else.
What are the common signs that some relationships are unhealthy, and how can people break free from toxic cycle?
Okay, again, like it is more to do with finding that root cause within ourselves, taking responsibility for that. Negative signs or red flags, as some would call, they have also become like a stipulated diet. Now people have started spotting, oh, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. When we box somebody, even if it is a person who is symptomatically, say, a narcissist or he has a narcissistic tendency, because we learn these things either on the social media or WhatsApp, or some therapist will explain things to you which are necessary for you to have like like the bandwidth of things for you to analyze whether this is my battle at all. But not to box ourselves in is what I would want to urge. Anything that helps you expand is healthy. Anything that diminishes and dims your light, even if it is Brad Pitt for a woman or if it's an Angelina Jolie for a man, it's not a right relationship.
Do you believe in the idea that we attract people who mirror our own energy? If so, How can we shift our energy to attract the right kind of love?
Wow, that's actually an answer hidden in the question itself, no? Yes, we do mirror some parts. It's not only what is light, what is in our light, what is consciously mine, but is what is subconsciously mine too. These are referred to as shadows, right? We all have the light part and shadow part to ourselves. What I would say is when you acquaint yourself with your own darkness, you're more comfortable dealing with the other person's darkness too. The success of this kind of dynamic to work out will happen only when both the parties are ready to work with both of their lights and darkness. है ना? Because we are not made, we're no, nobody's completely good, nobody's completely bad. There's always some goodness hidden in the person who's labeled bad. There is always something which is a little bit shadowy aspect in the person who's absolutely exceptionally good, philanthropic in nature too. But when people come together, they even trigger each other, which is what is actually the mirroring part happens. But the maturity is when you choose a person after this whole attraction begins, that is the primary connecting dot, right? You have to have some kind of a chemistry, some kind of equal mutual pull. Once that test passes, the rest is work. It has to be an inner work. And if it doesn't work, then it will never work with anybody else either, because it lies within you. If I don't take responsibility for what how I am, even if the other person is doing the work, the person is absolutely angelic in nature, I will have a problem with that person. So it calls for two people to do the work.
With dating apps and social media playing such a big role, how can people stay grounded and avoid emotional burnout in today's dating world?
I'm going to give a very unpopular opinion. I'm not such a big fan of dating apps at all. Um, but that's my personal opinion. Because we have reduced human beings to commodities like in a shopping cart. You know, you like something, you like some person, just click, swipe, and they land in front of you. And you have this time to get to know that person as if it's a trial period going on. Burnout is quicker, of course, because it gives you an illusion, not falsely, it gives you an illusion that there is always somebody better. You know, I can get luckier, I can get a better person, I can do better. With the concept of something like this, you never give your full attention, your full power to that one person who is come, who's arrived, who's shown up to be with you. So, this is something to do with the culture of the mindset completely, not so much to do with the practical aspects of how it pans out. Um, as I said, it's an unpopular opinion. People who are born into the age of dating apps, for them, it's almost like they're like fish in the water in this. They just feel that how else would you meet? But if you notice the amount of heartache, heartbreak, and the saturation of the tolerance basically towards each other, which has widened the gap between people all the very more. They're much more restless, they're much more unhappy, and the rates of divorce are on the high all the time. So even if they come together, there is very less likelihood of them staying together. You know what I'm saying? So until unless this concept, this mindset is changed of this person is like a commodity. I like it or I don't like it in the trial period, I'll get rid of it. That has to be done away with.
What's your perspective on soulmates and twin flames? Are they real? And how do you know if you have met one?
See, I have my perception towards these two concepts of soulmates and twin flames have changed over a period of time. When something is popular, like in even in the pop culture, and they start using this, or as influences, when you come into the category of dating or during the heartbreak, people do refer to these spiritual aspects or something which is not in the aspect of psychological realm, and they tend to believe this, that I have one soulmate. um, what I would say is, having having led a life so rich, I have met very interesting souls, you know, and they all fulfill a certain purpose in your life. There is, at this moment, what I believe is there is no one soulmate. Yes, there is one particular person who is ideal for you as a partner, for which you need to first ready yourself. And twin flame journey, people who trigger each other and they help you learn a lesson, is what comes closest to me as a reference for it. But I don't believe in this journey of, if he's a twin flame, he'll keep running and you'll keep running back, you'll keep chasing and you will stop and that person will circle around you. People have started justifying unhealthy relationships as, you know, twin flames. So even whatever is the trend, I'm not denying the aspect of it resonating at one point of time. I would say don't box yourself to any label.
Rejection can be painful and shake a person's self esteem. What's your advice to someone struggling with rejection in dating?
Very powerful question, isn't it? Well, rejection, for one to begin with, is very painful. But it also is important, I would say, for the initiation of the soul to move forward, to really step into your power. I think you should be rejected. But how you're rejected also teaches you what kind of a person you want to become, you know? So it's all a game of how you perceive the rejection itself. We tend to take it personally, and I wouldn't make myself an exception. If somebody says on my face, like everything is going fine, and suddenly, hey, I'm not so into you, obviously I'll feel rejected, right? But that is the moment we shift the gear from reaction to response. What do I mean by this? Like reactionary is this, nah? This is how you're projecting onto me, or this is what is the fact. This is what you want me to feel. I feel this. Now when I take a pause and I start seeing that this is your reality. A rejection from another person could be for so many different myriad reasons that have nothing to do with you. You can be the perfect person for anybody and still be rejected by a person who is not ready to even put in that kind of work to deserve you. But we don't think like that. We always think that, okay, something is wrong with me, because we have this in our very like cultural level, deeply rooted from the beginning of our school days, that if something is not given to you, something you're not faring well, even at studies or competition, etc., we are competitive by nature. So if we are not the chosen ones, we feel something is wrong. So it should be more than being chosen by other. Choose yourself and you will overcome. One point or the other, you will realize that you are whole, however you are. Everybody has to return to their own wholeness and they will meet their ideal compatible partner.
Many people talk about manifesting love. What's the right way to approach manifestation when it comes to a romantic relationship?
You know, I did something like a vision board last time and I did manifest a partner, but it just did not stay. So, what one would say that, oh, you manifested and something didn't work out, is also a manifestation. But you need to see what type of manifestation did you do, you know? Because we think that manifestation happens only by the will of our conscious self. Having worked for several years at a subconscious level, even in the spiritual realm, what is ideal, what's not ideal, what I've realized is what you are for your best benefit, which is very different from the template of everybody else, happens to you and manifests for you. So, the success of meeting an ideal partner may not be the manifestation of your soul. So, it may need the journey of you demands you to constantly rise above this cycle, breaking some kind of a pattern which is very personalized for you. Not for your brother, not for your sister, not for your friend who did the least amount of attempt and she landed in one of the biggest, like, amazing kind of a relationship. So, this is what brings me back to the soul purpose. You know, what is your soul journey? So different, and we try to fit ourselves into all manifestations have to work at one level.
How can love, both for ourselves and others, become a spiritual practice that helps us grow and evolve?
Wow. Because love is medicine. Love is the only medicine that works, is needed in the world more than anything else. If you notice, any type of a vitiation that happens in relationship dynamics, or even at the work, or when people show up in the world as who they are, is all dependent upon the amount of love they have received at one point of time and the love that they have accepted for themselves and reflecting back. So there was this one phrase that was going around. It's about like, it was an analogy actually. Um, a patient goes to the doctor and he asks, "Oh, I'm suffering from this, psychosomatic." And he says, "The medicine is love." He says, "What if it doesn't work?" He says, "Increase the dosage." you know so I'm a personal believer, love is my religion. you know and love in romantic relationships is of course very personal, very interpersonal, very intimate, very delicate too, required. But that also gives rise to a larger vibration of love, which is, I think, which is what is our true nature. And when we are in that true nature, we sanctify everything within and outside. So, uh, I have a page called at the rate of healing with Mayuri. We also have started podcasts on YouTube, and we are just starting our brand new journey on YouTube. So, I would really appreciate for those of you who like the topics on self worth, confidence, and relationships, and to alchemize your pain into your power, to check out the page and to support us so that we can bring in more content, more useful content that you can use in your life.